So,
Hello.
ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the game that makes failure fun, DogHouse, the party game that you can't wait to lose. My name is Owen Ferguson. I'm co-president and co-founder of the Whiteboard Group LLC, which is the entity under which DogHouse operates, and I'll be sharing our product with you this morning. So, DogHouse is a game made for mature audiences, perfect for adult parties. It entails 6 satirical spin-offs of traditional American party games, including Truth or Dare, Never Have I Ever, and categories. The way you select a game is by taking a regular 6-face die, rolling it, and depending on what number you land on, you draw a card from one of the 6 respective decks. Each deck is a different game, and each game has a different way of getting players sent to the doghouse. And what happens when you go to the doghouse is up to you and the persons you are playing with. There are no winners, but at least one loser per round. And the losers are the one that go to the doghouse. This game is best played casually. With that, no one stays in the doghouse for longer than one round. And you don't keep track of how many times players are sent to the doghouse. However, if you choose to do so, there is a way you can play it with a competitive edge, which is just having a limit as to how many times a player can be sent to the doghouse, or tallying how many times a player is sent, and summing up that total at the end. This game was conceived in the second of 3 courses in the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University's Entrepreneur Scholars Program. This program teaches entrepreneurship through practice, so coursework, business travel, mentorship, and ultimately attempting to launch a business venture. Through this program, my team and I got together, received a plethora of resources, and met our game manufacturer in China when making a trip there as a group for the purpose of business travel. Our team always thought that we had a good idea on our hands, but we all had different plans for ourselves for life after graduation, plans that all ultimately fell through or were deviated in some way or form due to the pandemic. So in the face of unemployment and economic recession, we embraced ambiguity and decided this would be the perfect time to launch our business. As of now, we are just past the launch stage. We introduced our game to the market via Kickstarter in August rather, and we had begun planning for it in May. And we're quite successful given the time spent planning and limited resources we had to work with. This campaign provided more than enough funds for us to cover the startup costs. And yeah, now we are up and running. 333 backers, $18,932, getting us over our initial goal by 18%. And so here's the timeline of our milestones since conception back in August. But rewinding to the beginning of the conception of the game, like I said, October of 2019, which would have been fall of our senior year. In February, we participated in an Entrepreneur Scholars Consortium. We just had to pitch our concept and do a business plan, and we won both categories. And that was kind of our first indicator that there might be something there beyond our own personal networks. But even still, we are still pretty committed to our individual post-grad plans. So in May, when we did find ourselves out of those plans due to the pandemic, Hannah and Zach, 2 of my teammates, they officially joined our team. Initially, they were working on their own individual ventures, and we founded our company. In August, on the 4th, we launched the Kickstarter, and exactly 3 weeks after that, we reached our goal, giving us just a little over a week to collect additional funds. And in January, we finally got to fulfill our Kickstarter orders. This is something we wanted to do in November or December so that backers could get their gifts by Christmas. But just with the pandemic, the amount of ships that were leaving China were far fewer, and ports were congested, and that ended up pushing our timeline back by a little over a month, which was a little unfortunate, but luckily our following and supporters were very understanding of that and appreciative once the games did finally arrive. Most recently, we launched a program called the Top Dog Ambassador Program, which essentially gives persons of any background, but we're specifically targeting college students. We're giving them the opportunity to help us sell games. Persons who use the promo code that we give to our ambassadors will get 15% off, and we will give 10% to our ambassadors as an incentive to continue helping us in selling games. So as far as community involvement, the help we're looking for, we would like your feedback. We're still young, still growing. And yeah, if you have thoughts on the game itself, the presentation, strategies that we could use in our growth, I'd love to receive those. Contacts in retail or the game industry, as well as bars, breweries, or Airbnb hosts. We're finding that just having our game present in these type of venues is also quite helpful as long as persons get a chance to play. Tips on social media marketing. I think that's something that we did pretty well right out the gate, and we've been able to keep consistent, but we are definitely trying to grow our following. So if anyone has suggestions on ways that we could approach that, we'd really appreciate it. With that, you could also follow us on social media. I'll be sure to send those links just as I'm done. And I'll also send a link to our website, and you could give us feedback on that layout as well. And if you're interested, even get your own game. And I'll be sure to send a promo code in the chat as well, in case anyone wants to benefit from the 15% off. And before I wrap up, I'll just give you a quick look at the game itself. So just have your regular box here with a brief instruction on the back, and inside you have a more detailed layout of how the game works, as well as a bit of a glossary giving you essential terms like dog sitter and others that will be helpful in playing the game. And here you have the six decks of cards. And I guess I'll just run through what those are specifically. Throw a bone, you're picking the player most likely to. Dogfight, you're entering into a contentious debate.
Oh,
and
can you stop sharing and then we can see you? Because like we can't see.
Oh yeah. I am so sorry.
I totally was gonna ask you if you had the game to show us, so this is good.
Okay, I'll just stop the share quickly. So, back of the box, you have just like a brief look at the instructions, and inside is the more detailed breakdown, and on the other side, the glossary, which will give you some essential terms for gameplay. And here we have the 6 decks. Throw a bone is the game you pick the player most likely to fit the prompt. Dogfight, you're entering into a contentious debate, and the losing side goes to the doghouse. Doghouse or dare is, as the name implies. Bark or bite is essentially the inverse of never have I ever. So if you have not done the given prompt, then you go to the doghouse. Breeds is essentially categories. The first person to delay the game or duplicate an answer goes to the doghouse. And teacher's pet, you'll share a question with the group that it will be based on you, and you determine the person who would have given the worst answer and send them to the doghouse. And yeah, so this game could go on really. There's no limit in playtime. There are 70 cards in each deck, including a joker, which will get you sent to the doghouse automatically. So 420 cards in total. And yeah, it can really be played for a long time. I've played a lot, and it took me about 6 months to go through every card. So, but yeah, we as humans, I think no one really enjoys losing. I myself consider myself to be a competitive person, but take my word that a loss is worth it if it's going to get you sent to the doghouse. Thank you for letting me share it with you this morning, and I would love any questions or comments that you all have.